Alrighty everyone, happy Sunday everybody. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend so far, and given that there's a lot of things going on right now with Snow White 2024, the Indiana Jones 5 box office collapse that Bob Iger is dealing with, among other problems with Disney stock and everything going on with the theme parks. I mean, there's a lot of things on Iger's plate right now that's not looking good for his role as CEO, but the Snow White movie really tops the list here. This is really like the pinnacle of Bob Iger's situation and exactly what's happening with Disney for next year. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that Snow White is a very controversial movie right now for multiple reasons, and rightfully so, by the way. I mean, they changed the 7 dwarves into reportedly the 7 magical creatures. We've all seen the real set photo leaks, by the way. Disney did admit that they were real a very long time ago. And ever since then, a lot of people, that have been speaking up, have been really against Disney. A lot of celebrities out there, a lot of, Hollywood icons are speaking against Disney about their approach to this, so people are taking a stand. And before I get to the main subject, I will say this: if Disney does absolutely nothing, in which I do believe they will do nothing, that really goes to show you how stubborn and how self-absorbed of a company they really are. But moving onwards here, what's really hilarious to me has a lot of things to do with what Disney is actually developing for the ending scene of Snow White 2024. Now, we've discussed pieces of this before in the past, but one thing specifically that I think is going to stick out like a sore thumb has to do with Snow White, portrayed by Rachel Zegler, and the 7 dwarves. Let's get into it. Now, with Snow White gaining much criticism after those leaked photos surfaced of the 7 dwarfs, Disney has been rushing to make some big revisions planned ahead of time in response to the backlash. One major development surrounding the ending of Snow White revolves around Rachel Zegler's portrayal of the character, where one of the scenes that were shot back in May of 2022 involved a moment where the 7 dwarves line up in front of Snow White awaiting a kiss to be provided from her. However, this is all transitioned into a moment where Disney films something completely altered for the live-action ending, in which the dwarves each walk up to Snow White, some of which receive a handshake after they seek a kiss instead from her, others receive a hug, and finally one of the other dwarfs, the last one, tries to show body language asking for a kiss, where Rachel Zegler goes on to deliver joking dialogue around the lines of saying, "Learn your manners," followed by laughing and hugging the dwarf afterwards. Disney did not want to film a series of kissing scenes between Snow White and the 7 dwarfs for multiple factors. Yeah, guys, I can imagine why. Moving onwards, additionally, another part of the Snow White ending that was filmed involved a moment where major moment when Snow White says goodbye to them all. A brand new song is delivered from the 7 dwarfs that is very much like folk pop music. All of the 7 dwarfs reportedly hold some type of instrument playing a song as some form of celebration once Jonathan, the new love interest, is dragged on the horse and guided by Rachel Zegler's Snow White. So guys, let me stop here for 1 second. Now, we kind of touched on this a couple of days ago, that they are swapping the roles of Snow White and this Jonathan character that is not Prince Florian. In the original 37 flick, you guys may remember that Snow White is on the horse being guided by the prince to the castle. This time around, it's in reverse. Alright, so they wanted to swap those roles. Now, following that, we have the 7 dwarfs performing a folk pop music that's going to eventually transition into this hip-hop style as it rolls into the credits. I'll talk about that more in a second. Now, this is very much different than the original, because in the original you don't have anything like that. You don't really have the 7 dwarfs performing a song like that with instruments, so this is something that Disney is trying to do that's going to be original. It's their attempt to make this song stick out, because it's not only a part of the ending, but it rolls into the credits and it's going to keep going on and on until about midway through the credits. So, on top of this, what's really quite hilarious is, moving onwards, alright, this folk pop music is described to be an original song that is played by the Seven Dwarfs, with one of them singing lyrics to the audience on screen. Disney's goal is to make this song an iconic hit for Snow White 24 that could outperform the original Hi-Ho song from the 37 original. Unlike the original, Snow White is not on the horse, like I mentioned before being guided by the prince or a love interest this time around. It is completely swapped. Now, the song of the Seven Dwarfs is planned to transition into the credits. However, the folk pop song, of course, has low-key transitions into a hip-hop style, even while the Seven Dwarfs are on screen before rolling to the credits. Similar to the Little Mermaid Scuttlebutt song, however not quite as severe in style. This is the one song Disney is doubling down on right now, and so far, has no plans of deleting it. Now, I don't know about you guys, if you have seen the Scuttlebutt song, I've put up a challenge for everybody a couple of days ago to check it out. It is probably one of the worst songs that you could ever listen to, and I believe, for me, it really was the worst thing I've listened to. I'm not even exaggerating here. And the fact that Disney has not learned from their mistakes, has not learned from 300,000 downvotes on that video, on that music video, I believe it was, compared to like 30,000 likes, that just goes to show you the ratio of how bad that song really is, and how universally rejected the Scuttlebutt song really is. So I can only imagine what this is going to be like, of how it's folk pop music transitioning into a hip-hop style as we go into the credits. This sounds just as bad as the Hi-Ho song that is being, of course, watered down right now and attempting to fix it, as it was a remixed version of that song with brand new lyrics provided by the Seven Dwarfs. Once again, reportedly they are being called the magical creatures in this movie, which is quite, ridiculous, but I digress. The thing about this that I think is the worst of the worst is the fact that they are really just changing up the entire ending of the Seven Dwarfs. Even though Disney has come forward a couple of months ago saying that this movie is going to be a beat-for-beat take or a remake of the 37 original, yet, guys, everything that we have been seeing and hearing has been completely the opposite. Anything ranging from the character names to the characters' motives to the characters' actions, they're all changed and they're all differed. It's not the 37 original being transitioned into live action. This is nothing more than a reimagining. That's all it really is. It's a reimagining. It's not the real Snow White per se. And I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying the thing that bothers them the most for this movie, surprisingly, it's not just Rachel Zegler, being miscast for this film, but it's also how the Seven Dwarfs are so heavily redesigned and are not even dwarfs like in the original 37 movie, and how there's a lot of people with dwarfism that are actually rising up and speaking against Disney. I'm really much appreciative of that and how people are taking a stand. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to moon,